All right, we're live. How's it going tonight, guys?
It's going pretty well.
How about you, Zach?
Doing good. Just kind of a nice chill night with my daughter, wife, my mom's visiting, so it's good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm getting ready for in a minute. I'm doing some old man stuff I shouldn't, or some young guy stuff that I shouldn't be doing as an old man, but Schweisberger check it in. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people checking in. Um, but first, we got an ad to get to. Um, Party Crashers RC is back. I actually just went to one of their parking lot events last Sunday. He's advertising now an RC charity event Sunday, September 8th at Hennepin Technical College in Brooklyn Park, starting at noon. 100% of the money collected will go to two charities. The charities are We Got Your Six, supporting first responders, police, firefighters, EMS, military, etc., and Coco's Heart Rescue, that takes in neglected animals, providing them with medical care and finding them homes. Those charities will be having a car show, food trucks, and pet adoptions going on. We will be doing, oh, yeah, they're going to be doing everything off road. They're going to be having the parking lot races, which we have been doing. They're going to be having a drift event, bashing, monster truck deal, a crawler course, anything you can think of. It's good. The RC track is going to be your, RC track, A and B transponders and all that stuff. They're still working out a lot of details, but stay tuned to the Party Crashers RC Facebook. And again, September 8th at Hennepin Technical College in Brooklyn Park. I went to this event last year, and that's what kind of got me going on parking lot racing again. I Before that, I hadn't been to a parking lot race since 1998. And then it's like, oh, wait, this is just fun. It's not serious. You go out there with a piece of junk and go have fun.
That's
So,
before I was born.
yeah, man. I've been racing since 1988. Yeah, so since before Zach was born.
hmm
Yeah. I was 6 years old when I started. So, anyways, guys, for our audience who is with us, and Cade is sharing it on his channel with us is Roach RC. Do you use your first name?
It doesn't matter to me. You can call me
Okay.
Roach or Cade.
Yeah. It was interesting how you got your RC name. But first off, what got you into RC? I have to ask everybody because RC is such a niche hobby and sport.
Well, there were two ways. It was sort of from two different angles. My dad grew up in like the 60s and 70s, and he wanted to do slot car racing when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But money is money. So, and for me, it was I wanted to do drift racing because I saw a drift RC video on YouTube one time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do that. So we looked for a couple of different tracks. Like we looked for a couple slot car tracks, but there were
Sure.
none to be found, at least
Yeah.
not here in Georgia. But we
Right.
did find a RC track called Hotshot RC that I went to, and it was an on-road and off-road track. And
Okay.
I tried drifting my HPI Sprint 2 drift there.
Okay. You had the
It didn't
sprint
work.
too.
It didn't work very well. So I
Yeah.
put
Well,
some grip
that's
tires. Oh, sorry,
the
go ahead.
sprint two. The sprint two is how a lot of people got into on road racing.
Yep.
They'd start
That's
novice and then they would get a, a competitive touring car.
Yep. And I ran that. I put some grip tires on it, and eventually my dad bought me an X-Ray T3 and a couple of
Oh,
batteries
yes.
and a motor and stuff like that. And at that point, it was just what I loved. I loved doing it.
Yes.
This is
That's
back in
awesome.
like 2013, by the way.
Yeah. So the T3 at that point was still in, like up
The
to date.
T4 had just come out, but
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
got the T3 and he was just selling it. He was like, "Hey, you want to get into it? Sure, I'll do it."
Well, That's the thing with X-ray too. It's like when the new shiny one comes out. I remember I got a T2007, sold my T206 for pennies on the dollar, and
Mhm.
that same dude whooped my butt with my old car with the same setup. It's like, huh?
Sounds like a skill issue.
Yeah, well, it was back then. Skill and
Back
anger.
then.
Back now, I'm very efficient at being average.
All right. All
I could
right.
say the same thing, honestly.
Yeah. Donald saying he loves his X-ray T4.
X-ray
Well,
X4? Right?
Yeah, X4.
oh, X4. Yeah, he's got a
Joe
T4.
doesn't have his glasses on.
I don't.
I haven't yet to activate Windows, so I couldn't see it.
And I've been doing a lot of Muay Thai lately.
Oh, right,
Really?
with the head kicks.
Oh, that. Yeah. Lots of jiu-jitsu. You know, one of your listeners is wondering what are the thoughts on the ET10 or ET4 10.2?
And then I can't pronounce his name. It's Amin. I'm gonna call him.
Common? Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Techno ET410?
I've
It's
had
probably the best mini truggy you can buy, honestly.
It is. I've had every mini truggy because I wanted that. I mean, that class was huge in Minnesota for a couple of years, but I was with the guy always using the kits like the velocity kits,
Mhm.
and they were faster, but they were so inconsistent compared to the techno that the techno
Yeah.
was the easy button in mini truggy.
You could honestly say that Techno in general is the easy button.
I can say that they definitely have the best truggy right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The buggy is competitive. You know, I don't have the hate for technos. I tried getting into techno back when they were still having growing pains.
Mhm.
I still have a EB 48.3 I'm gonna just give to a kid one day. I dislike that car so much.
Which one? I'm sorry. I was looking at chat.
The EB 48.3.
Oh,
So
that.
yeah,
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 I got a couple people who still run that, and I'm like, why? Why
yeah,
are you doing this
exactly.
to yourself?
You know, I'm gonna probably bring it to that race with the Tekin Gen 2 ESC, that parking lot race, and find a kid in the crowd and just give it to him.
Mm,
Be like, here, make it run.
make it work.
Yeah. So, what made you get interested in doing a YouTube channel?
Well, again, it goes back to my dad,
Yep.
and he was like, "Look, you enjoy doing this. You enjoy, sorry, I'm looking at chat 'cause it's going off.
Oh, it is.
I looked at other YouTubers and mainly other RC YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
and you ever watch regular car reviews?
Yes, all the time.
I think I may sound strong, but story was similar to that, and
Okay.
how he looked at other car reviews of people with bad audio quality, bad like angles and stuff like that, and all that, and just that's your regular RC review.
Twisted. Sorry.
Brown.
Brown.
But yeah, that I looked at that and I thought I can do better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
initially I didn't because my audio was bad, but
Yep.
I had good music,
right.
or at least different music compared to what other people usually put in.
Right. I had a buddy do a intro for me that I no longer use because it no longer applies because we're a couple co-hosts from the old intro, but you know, that also having a personalized intro helps things out a lot. I have to have him do another one.
Who do you have
Um,
do your intros?
uh, Brad Sandvig, Brad the Made Man Sandvig. You can find him on SoundCloud. He was on DRC when he still raced, and you know, had your average family issues, getting a divorce, all that crap. So he kind of had to drop out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff going on.
But holy
The
crap,
top racing.
that guy, the way his mind works with electronics, like,
Incredible.
yeah, like, have you ever had a sensor board? Like, I don't know if the proper word is balanced, but
I think
he
the
Aligned.
rotor or stator would be
aligned.
balanced.
Yeah, aligned. He would sit there with the soldering iron and screw with the sensor board, and it would be a million times better when he was done with it. And I'm like, how do you even know how to do this? He's like,
Trial and error.
yeah. So we RC Roach for president. Oh man.
Oh no, no, that's not gonna work.
Oh yeah. So how is since you've been racing? So it sounds like you might have because we were talking before this, and you said you got racing again in 2019. So did you take a break?
I took a long break because, well, to be honest, there was some stuff going on between my parents,
Yeah.
and just stuff happens. So they weren't able to like ferry me to a bunch of different tracks, like that were all like an hour or so away on the weekends.
Sure.
So I took a long break from like 2015 to like 2019. But once I graduated from high school and I got my own car, I was able to go to that this little. There's a small RC track. You can see it in some of my older videos
Yeah.
of a green AstroTurf indoor track called AJC Speedway.
Yep.
And they had a B62 that I was able to trade a lot of my old RC stuff for.
Cool.
And I got that and I was back into it again. And once they eventually closed down, which is unfortunate,
Yeah.
I was able to get to a point where I could go to these other races around, like from Loganville RC Complex, the Barn RC Raceway, Hobbytown Columbus down in Columbus, Georgia,
Yep.
and just other places in general to where I could go race. And I didn't
Right.
need as much. I didn't need as much support.
So on average, like my average club race day, I'm driving between an hour and 4 hours.
Mhm.
And Zach, you're doing 2 hours to run on road, right?
Yeah, it's about 2.5.
Yeah. So that's part of it is just having to rack the miles up on the car. I mean, I bought my truck brand new in 2022 and I have 51,000 miles on it already.
Mm.
Just
So
for
that's about, you said 55,000 miles. So that's what, like
51.
20, 51, so like
Yeah.
25,000 miles a year.
Yeah. And I barely drive for work. It's a 20-mile round trip for work.
Damn.
It's all from racing.
Well,
It's
for
expensive
me,
too.
Yeah.
I drive an old Odyssey van, so I don't care about putting miles on it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I used to drive an old Crown Vic police car. That's why I'm like, when you said regular car reviews, the first one I saw was on the Crown Vic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The first one I saw was on the Subaru Impreza WRX.
Okay, yeah, the
So
Crown
you could-
Vic one was great though. He's like, for the guy who open carries at his niece's baptism.
That I love a regular car review.
So do I. So I mean, I watch it every Monday. I do.
I haven't watched a little bit, but I know he still makes good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm up early Mondays because Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have 6 a.m. jujitsu, and I don't have time to watch anything when I'm up except for basically regular car reviews. Now I've started watching your videos, and I have a question for you about some of your videos
Go for it.
because I didn't hear about you until like I started hearing about you when the history of this, history of that, came out, which is awesome. But what got you interested in the history of it? Because to be honest, younger guys really don't, they're not into that because it's not making them faster. They just want to, it's like I see these kids at the track and they're good kids, but it's like, and you're not a kid, but you know what I mean?
I used to be.
Yeah.
Now I have a beard and a mustache. But
Yeah. What are you, curiosity, are you 22, 23?
24.
24, yeah. So I'm 42, so
Joe's going deaf,
I am,
and he doesn't pay attention.
yeah, I pay attention. I'm just heads going a million mile an hour. Anyway, sir.
But yeah, for me, the reason why I started doing history videos was because one of my goals as a kid was to become a history teacher.
Okay.
So I was like, I could research things very well, even if it's buried under like decades of spamware and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I figured, why not apply that to RC? And lots of people seem to really enjoy it. So why not give it a shot? And to this day, it's still one of the most viewed videos on my channel.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a couple of the. You have a history of Team Losey one, right?
History Team Losi. I have a Team Associated one, but it's a little bit inaccurate.
It's hard. The Team Associated one's hard. I didn't learn about a lot of the history of Team Associated until I started racing A scale on road back in like 2004, 2005. And then these guys, older gentlemen, come racing with these like 2004, 2005. The cars were fairly, they were the genesis of what the A scale on road cars are now.
Mhm.
And then these older gentlemen come with these fiberglass cars with giant donuts, stained yellow rims, that type thing. I'm like, what is that? They're like, you don't know what this is. This is a Team Associated. I'm like, a what? Because in my head, Team Associated started at the RC10. You know, it didn't start with slot cars and then the RC1, RC100, or, you know, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it was like, it was pretty difficult initially to find a lot of the history about Team Associated, at least like most of the stuff that didn't pertain to them being great.
Yeah.
Because the main place I looked for Team Associated history initially was on their own website.
Sure.
And of course, they don't want to list stuff that wasn't good for them, I guess you could say. Like, for example, I think it was 1997 when Brian Kinwald won the IFMAR Worlds in a low C. Actually, was it 1997 or was it 1990? No, it was 97.
Yep. Because what was funny was he won 93 or 94, and the second they released the World's car with the Kinwald paint, Kinwald signed with Losey. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, and they don't list that. They didn't list that they was 97 at 97 at the ranch. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. That's one of my frequent watchers. I really appreciate him. But they didn't, all they listed was that all of their cars were in the main. They didn't list that they lost. So I had assumed initially that they got a podium, but I was wrong.
Yep.
So
that year, go ahead.
Sorry.
So I'm just saying, I remember those cars from that year, and it's like Losey. There's always a pendulum swing between Losey and Associated, and I went whichever the way the wind blew. 97 to 2000, like from when Team Associated went from the B2 to pretty close to the B4 era, that was more of a Team Losey dominating era. And plus they had a killer team.
Yeah. They were on top of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like the Losey video I did, I corrected myself. I corrected a lot of things actually in that one. But right now I'm working with RC Racing TV with a couple more history videos with them.
Okay.
And I'll actually be 100% accurate, but I'll only be focusing on the RC10 really.
Gotcha.
Because there's so much history to a lot of these companies.
If you really want to go deep, start digging into the Formula One car, the Team Associated. I forget the company name. And I had my eye on one of these cars. As 1996, Team Associated paired up with a German company for an on-road Formula One car. that was super successful but still failed because it was a small country in a niche class.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's when you go deep. I can't remember the company name. I wish I could. It's not listed, like, unless you really know your stuff. I bet James Elliott knows, because James Elliott seems to know his 90s.
He does.
Yeah.
He's always out here. He's always out here.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, so I notice you have a ton of, like, we have a big range of listeners as well, from age groups and all that stuff. It's like, do you have like super young dudes to like super old dudes like me listening constantly? And
Yeah, it's mostly like if you look at my actual analytics, it's
yeah,
mostly people from like 20. It's a large group. It's from like
yeah,
20 to 50.
yep, same here.
But what's
That's
really
most of our scene.
interesting, that's most of our C, but what's really interesting is where all these people are. Because only
Yeah,
half of my audience is from the United States. Only half.
yep.
I get
So
a lot of
what's your
people from
big country?
the UK specifically.
Okay.
The UK, some people from Israel,
Yep.
some people from, I think it was New Zealand, Australia, most English speaking countries in general. Germany is another big one, Portugal, Spain, most of Western Europe, and oddly, damn it, Ian. Oddly, what's this called? Saudi Arabia was another weird one.
Yeah. When we first started this, we had a lot of listeners in the Middle East in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Our big country now is Malaysia and Sweden.
That's another one for me as well, Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweden and Finland. But
yeah.
honestly, the Finland's entirely Max Mort.
Yep. Finland is Max Morton, JQ when he's around Finland.
Yeah.
Speaking of Max Mort, so what got you I mean, I know Keenan loves Keenan loves every piece of RC content that ever hits the internet. He watches everything. What got you and Keenan talking, and you're now seem to be a rotating co-host on the No Name RC podcast?
Well, it initially started on what's it called? Masters of Dirt 2022.
Yep.
And that's where I met him for the first time. And that's where he gave me a lot of advice on like being very confident, being more open, and I guess just confident in terms of content creation. Even if you don't feel confident doing content creation,
Right.
which to be honest, I'm still kind of faking it.
Dude, I've been doing this for years and years. I'm faking it every time.
Show up
Yeah.
and do your best, and
Yep.
eventually you get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That is exactly what I do. And that's why I write. Well, going back to, I'll explain that in a bit. But going back to Keenan, he basically asked me, hey, look, you like RC, you have a nice speaking voice. Would you like to be on the podcast from time to time? I'm like, yes. Yes, I would.
Yeah, and you and Max go into science mode together, and Keenan's head's about to explode.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Max knows a lot more than me. I'm just really interested in it.
Max is another level.
Yeah.
He puts his brain to something on the engineering side of RC, and it's tough to shut that off. Zach does that often as well. He doesn't go quite as far in depth, but I like it. It's, for me, it's like people go, hey, what'd you do to make your car work? I put in softer shock oil. What does that do? Makes the rear end softer, gives it more grip. How? Pfft, weight distribution. I can't go much deeper. But now, if you were to ask Max or Zach that question, they would give you a 20-minute answer.
Yeah. And to be honest, when he does, I liked his videos on it, especially on his own channel, because he made it actually make sense.
Yes, right. James loves his DRC lipo warmer. Oh, well, we got something to talk about in a couple minutes here. because I'm almost out of questions, but not quite. So where's your favorite place to race on the East Coast, and what genre is your favorite to race?
My favorite genre racing is 10 scale off road because it's
Okay.
just that's what I grew up doing, basically.
Yep.
I always have a soft spot for on road because that's what I started with.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite place to race on the East Coast would have to be, for now, it's probably Beach RC.
How far are
But
you from beach?
I'm about 6 hours away. But
That's
I
almost club racing distance.
almost club racing distance, but they only do it on Wednesdays,
Oh,
Wednesday nights.
What's your
So,
favorite
but
part about Beach RC that makes it your favorite track over any of the other ones?
well, for me, it's two things. One, when I get there, or I can get there by flying pretty easily because I live pretty close to the Atlanta airport, and it's like
Mhm.
an hour flight to Myrtle Beach
nice.
Mm.
for like $150. So I'm like,
That's so worth not driving.
I know, and it's cheaper. Well, if you plan it ahead enough, it's cheaper. But also all the times that I've went there, it's always been like a larger race, so the atmosphere was really good too.
Cool.
Mm.
Have
But
you?
for my, oh, sorry,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was gonna say, have you done the mass? You've done the Masters of Dirt, right?
Yes, that's where I met Keenan.
So, did you run the stock or the mod side? Because don't they do a stock Masters and a mod Masters?
I ran basically the equivalent to Sportsman Mod,
Okay,
which is like open two-wheel drive. There's open two-wheel drive, and then there's mod two-wheel drive.
gotcha.
And initially, I ran stock because I thought stock was the beginner class. I was
No,
wrong. I was very
yes,
wrong.
It's weird in off-road. There's not like you have to have like a 21.5 buggy
Mhm.
as the beginner class. Sometimes they have like a slash class as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But to race something like that, and if not, like maybe a stadium truck or a short course. But like even at like Hoosier, like sometimes they don't have 21.5 buggy. It's just two-wheel drive buggy, and you get thrown
Mhm.
in with the wolves.
and that's how you
So
learn real quick.
Yeah.
That's because the place I
Yes,
run at, because the place I run at Loganville RC Complex, one of the main drivers there is two of them. One of them's Aiden Ridgway. He's a really fast driver. He got, I think, fourth at Silver State and Intermediate.
Okay. Okay.
And Dusty Loden, who's like another really fast. He runs for Sparko, and
Oh.
he got, I think, at Wicked Weekend he won 40 plus.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. You know, I've been to Silver State twice, but I've watched very little of the A scale because I'm always on the fifth scale side.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's like, hey, my truck's working great. I'm going to go help out Matt. And then I end up doing like an entire day of qualifying behind the microphone. And it's like, shit, there goes my whole weekend.
Speaking of which, one of the things that I think the thing that I spend the most time when it comes to videos is probably writing the script for it.
Yeah.
It's a long process because the last video I did on, let me double check, actually, it was, I'm bringing it up.
It was like last week, wasn't it? Or was it earlier this week?
It was earlier this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the underrated brands, that
yeah.
was 5 pages long.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think the longest one I've done was 24.
I do not have that. I mean, you've seen my chicken scratch notes that I sent you before the interview, and it's like that between podcasts, that's all I write, like 2 or 3 word notes, and we try to build on that.
Well, the main
Well, that's
reason
what
why
I
I write. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So go ahead.
no.
Duh.
Sorry,
That,
keep interrupting each other. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's
that's
a tough
that's
thing
the
about a
hard part.
podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, the main reason why I write the scripts in general is because I trip over my words a lot when I'm improving.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I have a reference of how I write, how I speak. So I have a reference point of how I'm going to speak and what I'm going to say. It's not always exactly the same, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, I used to, for fun, I used to act. Like my buddies and I, when we were like 17, we used to have a public access show, short films in like um, film festivals, stuff like that.
Hmm.
If I had to do a script word for word, it wasn't happening at all. I needed bullet points, and like if I worked with my group, they understood and they're fine. If I worked with a different group, they get so pissed because, as you know, as somebody writes scripts, so much time and effort goes into every sentence. It is nuts. Um, what other hobbies and interests do you have?
It's over there. You can't see it
Yeah,
if you're listening to
I can
this,
see it.
but if you're listening to this, I'm pointing at my Xbox. And I'm
Yeah,
recording this on my gaming PC.
nice. Yeah.
But yeah, for me though, I've kind of gotten out of gaming as much,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because AAA gaming has consistently disappointed me since like 2017.
Okay.
It's bad. It's bad.
I got into iRacing for a while, but when you get an A license, let's say for paved oval,
Mhm.
the races become less and less frequent, and they become longer and longer, and more of a time suck to where you just can't do it. So I play on a PS5, just like UFC, Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that. But like Zach and I, we both do jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
I'm picking up
You said
Muay Thai.
you picked up Muay Thai. I used to do Muay Thai when I was a kid.
It's so much fun.
It
So
is a lot of fun, but I got hurt bad.
yeah, you get hurt. Keep those hands up. Check leg kicks.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I
So
used to be a big gamer too, but it's so much of a time suck that
It's especially if you're playing like MMOs, like Warframe or Destiny 2.
I used to play
Most of these days, I just play indie games because I have a lot more fun with them.
Zach, have you picked up the stick since you've had a kid?
What stick?
It's a name for controllers.
Controllers.
I stopped gaming a long time ago. I just don't. So I have a kind of an addictive personality, so I got to pick and choose what I do.
Right.
And I was addicted to World of Warcraft for a while.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that
it
game
was a big
so
problem.
fun.
So I only allowed myself to play outdated games. So I played Titanfall for a little bit on the Xbox, and then
Titanfall 1 or Titanfall 2?
both. So when Titanfall 1 kind of fell away a couple years after Titanfall 2 was launched, and I switched over to Titanfall 2, and I played that until the DNS server, attacks, and just kind of was like, I don't have time for this anymore, so I just stopped.
I miss Titanfall 2. It was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I like one better.
So what I was saying before this podcast, you probably heard it on the last episode. So I got cranked really hard in the head with an A scale buggy right in the temple, full speed. I shouldn't have been standing there. It's one of those situations. And I'm like, that's harder than I've ever been punched, kicked, kneed, elbowed, whatever. I'm like, I'm going to start doing Muay Thai again. And so now I'm planning on going to one of the biggest Muay Thai tournaments next June. I'm trying to do like light middleweight, maybe. As you can see right now, I'm chunky. Because I work out. I go to the jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai are in the same gym, but they also have a weight set. I'm there 6 days a week. You can't outwork a bad diet. Maybe when you're younger like you two, but you get older, you can't outwork a bad diet. But I got to get back down to that 160, 165 zone to compete.
How tall are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Before jiu-jitsu, 6 feet tall, but my back is so compressed now, about 5'10".
Mm.
Yeah.
Shrinks an inch every episode.
Nah. I can get in if I spend time on my decompression table, I can get an inch and a half back. But that's time I just don't like I for some dumb reason, not dumb reason, but I bought a drone last Saturday. So right before this episode, I was out flying it. Why? I don't maybe content for my TikTok channel. I don't know why I bought it. I just had the freaking want to buy a
It was an
drone.
impulse buy.
It was, but it's fun. But that's one more thing. It's like put it on the pile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tomorrow
I
it's go ahead.
sorry, I said I just bought a Truggy, so I know how you feel.
Oh yeah, I have a Truggy as well. Nitro or electric?
Electric, because nitro makes me itch.
Actually, itch or just
Yes.
okay? That makes sense.
In all seriousness, though, I did have an allergic reaction to nitro when I was at North Georgia Shootout at one point. Like I
Yeah.
broke out like on the left side of my face.
It's something to do with the oil in it. Because I have a buddy with the same thing, and he's also allergic to almost every single traction compound there is.
Luckily, I'm not allergic to at least most traction compounds.
Yeah.
I am, but liquid wrench is some nasty stuff.
It's
You don't mess with that. So,
I'm so happy that the tracks around us have gotten smart and they've gone either TDK or SXT, and they only allow the one sauce.
yeah, that's what most places should do. Actually, no, all places should do.
Yeah.
Well, it's not guessing too, because if you go to like a track and it's open sauce, then you have to either buy sauce or use some very caustic chemical,
Yeah.
and it's it sucks. Just like, well, it's not just like, but it's kind of like spec tire. And some of the sauces, if you mix them, will ruin a set of tires. Like
It will.
on road, you can't mix the sauces for the tires. It'll just
can
you just
ruin the
throw the
groove.
tire away.
You can
You
ruin
can
the
ruin
groove.
it
You
too.
can ruin the carpet as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You guys, have any of you ever experienced Paragon Wintergreen?
That's what we started with.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think I have some of that somewhere.
Oh, I have a can on my RC desk that
Black
every once
one.
in a while. Yep, black label.
With the center hole,
I
not
have a
the
couple of
offset one.
I have a
Right.
couple traction compounds in like my bin that I use to move, but that's about it. I think I have something from like Trinity from 2010.
Yeah, no, this Paragon's from I don't know when the last time they made it was, but the first time I ever went on-road racing was in the mid 90s, and it was in this dying shopping mall. We walked into the wrong end of the shopping mall, but we knew we were in the correct place because of the smell of wintergreen. We literally followed the smell to the track.
Yeah,
So,
what we used to do.
Yeah.
Also, to answer your question, Ian, yes, I have tried VRC Pro as an option. Lots of people don't like it for some reason. I love it.
I don't like it. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but
It's not one-to-one. Don't expect that.
no. And that's one of the reasons I don't like it's not even if it's a little closer, I'd maybe like it a little more. The Nitro on road's kind of close, but yeah, it's fun. It's
For
definitely
me, it's
fun.
mostly about the just getting the perspective of like lining up junks and stuff like that for off-road.
Yep.
And that's the main reason why I use it.
Right. So, one more question before we get into news and notes. So, what is your overall? I'm sure it's constantly moving, but what are your goals in RC?
My goals in RC, well, in terms of racing, it's just to have fun.
Yeah,
That's about it.
right.
To improve as a driver, to work on my cars and stuff like that, to see those results going, that's my idea of fun.
Right.
But for YouTube, well, it's more tangible or more, I guess, sounds clinical, but numbers based.
Yes.
I'm hoping to get to 10K before my birthday in 2025.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's an obtainable goal. Because it kind of seems like once you get to that like first 1,000, then 5,000 comes quicker than the first 1,000. Then you get from 5,000 to 10,000 even faster, and it kind of snowballs.
It's an exponential type of growth, definitely.
Right. Right. And again, this YouTube channel hasn't grown and every once in a while you get lucky with something. Like I got lucky with a video on my TikTok channel and it grew massively. Like I went from having 1,000 followers to close to 6,000.
Yep. It
From
all
one
it takes
video.
is one video.
Yeah. And
For
as a
me, that one video was the team associated video.
right. Your video took time and effort and care and a lot of research. My video was 10 seconds of BS with a crappy song behind it.
Speaking of sound, that's actually another thing about my videos that I'm pretty proud of is my music choice.
Yeah. I
It's
kind
all
of get a Marquez Brownlee vibe in the beginning of it.
Marcus Brownlee.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He does
Never thought of it
the
that way.
yeah, he does. I'm saying like the music and then how your voice like kind of comes like you do like 10 seconds of that I don't know how to describe the music. Is it like
There's jazz. I usually do jazz.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do lo-fi or house music. The last one I
Right.
did was house.
Yep.
Lo-fi is another one that I do a lot,
Right.
but mainly it's acid jazz.
Yeah, and that's what Marquez Brownlee does that a little bit too, and he does a little bit of an intro with a lot of cool stuff, and then he starts talking and then getting you into it and all that. That's what your videos remind me of a lot, like the music in the beginning, and except I can watch your videos all the way through.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, how many different ways can you slice up a Samsung Galaxy, you know? Because Marquez does all the technology stuff.
Yeah. I
And
actually
it's
never really watched his videos. I guess that's just one of those things of like you both come up with the same thing, but yeah.
yeah. Nick is saying odd time signature jazz for the win. Yeah. So up on my screen on this side, I've been looking over at it. I'm looking at the new IFMAR Worlds list, or the complete, I should say, because it's in 2.5 weeks it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Ephra, man, they got some serious heavy hitters. I can't. They're going to
You
be
want to
hard.
bring it up real quick?
Yeah, I should. Sorry, I don't forget about it as often anymore. I need to get this should be a job for my son. I cannot share this. Oh, here we go. I should make Joe 3 produce this. He's 12. He gets so bored.
Get him over to RC. He won't have enough money to get into trouble.
Oh, he's in RC. I got him a fifth scale. See, I can barely read it on this screen. Can you?
I can.
I can make it bigger.
Let's see what we're looking
I'm
at here.
reading
We
it out.
got some heavy hitters.
Yeah, I mean, out of Italy, you got Ungaro, Bertone, Barufalo. Right there, there's three
people who can instantly win it right there.
Yeah. France, you got Savoia. Yeah, I mean, there's a shot, but yeah. But I was looking down at the Kilich brothers one of them was on fire at the Euros, and
I think it was it Borak? Yeah, it was Borak.
Yeah, it was Borak, but then he broke in the semis. It's like he had it like he broke early, but he was leading early, and man, I have a prediction already We're gonna see a S Works or a Team Associated win. I don't think we're gonna see in. We're not gonna see a C Hub car win in Spain for the Worlds.
Probably not. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
They're just.
Uh,
I mean, I could see them doing well.
yeah. Mayfield,
But
ever since he's joined Techno, that car has gotten with Mayfield and Wiggins and Van Dalen working on that car. They've gotten it a billion times better.
yeah.
Nobody works harder than Wiggins.
Yeah. I think one of the cars I see doing pretty well there. Well, like you said, S Works already, but
Yeah.
I could see a Kyosho doing well.
For us, yeah. Yeah. So I have not driven an MP10. I used to have an MP9, a TKI4, and I know the new MP10 is fairly different, but it's in the same vein.
It's a little bit lighter, mostly due to the fact that we're on saddle packs instead of regular stick packs.
Oh yeah, but this is nitro. But,
nitro. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Duh, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, mostly the same.
Yeah, I think it'll do well. It will definitely be in the finals with Lutz. I see Lutz making the finals. I don't know if it's going to win.
I doubt it'll win. I'm just thinking it's going to do well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to do well. Another reason why it's going to do well is because Lutz is still on AKA tires.
Yep.
AKA won the last time it was in Spain and, well, the last Worlds, but AKA has several, well, 2 or 3 world championships.
Yeah.
They've
And they
been
have plenty of good rubber choices for tracks like these.
right. I mean, if you look at the Euros, it's going to be the same grip type as the Euros, even though, Italy to Spain, but it's going to be the same grip type. And there was nothing left of JCC's tires. He was down to the foams.
Man had no grip anymore.
I couldn't imagine.
Also, if you look, I wonder if he's actually going. Is it Fuller, Lutz, Fenn? Okay, doesn't look like it. David Olson, Caden, South Brandon, Ryan Mayfield, Ryan Cavalieri. I think he's down there somewhere, but I remember my friend of mine, Ryan Daze.
He's going.
He's going?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's number 127 on the list.
Oh, there he is.
What's he running?
He's running X-Ray.
Okay.
Which is another car. Which is another car I think will do well because it's a pillowball car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody has Quelo and like winning though.
True. It's mostly it's not necessarily we're in a point with 8 scale. It's not really down to the car, it's more down to the driver.
But it's also too Quelo, he's not focused.
He's not focused on 8th scale. He's focused on
yeah. I know.
I mean, he could absolutely win. He's won can't say pulled him out of his rear end, but he's done, he's come from behind, underdog, that type of thing, and won world championships before. But
yeah.
Nick is saying his 10 scale mini truggy has pillow balls. What mini truggy would have? Is that a PR?
Would that be a PR?
Or would it be an X-ray? X-ray's got. I was looking at the X-ray mini truggy.
One does.
Yeah. I was looking at the X-ray mini truggy a few years back when I was still in a mini truggy, and they came out with their newest one that was like $600 or $700, and it's like, absolutely not.
Why would I do that when I can buy Techno?
Yeah. Oh, he's got the
duh. Yeah, he said that earlier. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely get because there were a couple guys when mini truggy was getting big. There were a couple guys trying to use that against quality drivers.
Yeah.
trying to use that against a techno, and they just couldn't keep up.
I also remember, if you remember, you remember Ultimate RC back in like 2010?
Yes.
He did a Stampede 4x4 mini truggy at
Mhm.
at one of the races at Old NorCal. And
Yeah.
actually won.
Nice. Yeah. Back then, though.
Back then, it was possible.
Yes. No, just more from Efron, the Spain side, was with JCC. I mean,
JCC.
I think
There's
he's
a lot of drivers from Spain.
just about everybody's favorite.
Yeah, I'd say honestly, JCC is probably the highest likely, in my opinion, to win right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, we got one from Finland.
Yona
Oh,
Yep.
Una. Yeah.
There's a bunch from Finland. It's just previous.
I just missed him.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Because you got JQ on there.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So in 2026, I want to go to the Worlds when they're in the U.S. just to go and watch.
Where are they going to be again?
Don't know yet. The track
know
has
yet?
not been
Oh
awarded.
yeah, they're gonna announce it at this World, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're gonna announce it this Worlds, and I'm gonna plan a trip just to go, maybe make some content. But I've never been to an IFMAR Worlds before. Been to plenty of nationals, plenty of big races, but I've never been to a Worlds.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, Zach's going.
Zach, you're going?
Not to the
Not to this.
ACL.
I know what you mean.
Worlds.
You qualify for the on-road Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach is going to be super consistent,
And
I'm
not
guessing-
very fast.
I'm guessing you're going to make semis.
I don't think they
you're gonna
do
make-
it like that for electric.
Do you think it's a Letterman?
I thought so.
Okay. It could be. Yeah, absolutely. Well, then I could see you making the B, which is way better than what I would do. Oh, yeah.
Dude, there's going to be world champions in the B.
Well, you're thinking about them being world champions and just not another guy.
No,
That's what I did. I made it to
level.
the B game at the Nationals one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's different.
It is
You know what I
different.
mean? Yeah. No. It'll be all right.
He's running 99% consistency right now.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm just. My goal is not to be last, but I'll
Yeah.
let you guys know how it is after. I don't know. I've never been to one.
Whenever it is, yeah. No,
Welcome to the shit show. How it feels.
It seems extremely exciting, but it seems like, well, Zach, you're very well prepared. You know the lists of what's legal and what's not. But I could see a guy making the Worlds and being like, cool, all pumped up, and just brings his car, and they're like, your ESC's illegal, your body's illegal, your motor, your battery, and then you're just screwed because you've been running that the whole time.
Most of the people that are coming, what's going on? It's I don't think they're practicing without tire warmers, and I don't think they're practicing to sauce the way the world sauces.
Okay.
Just like how people weren't practicing with AKA tires back in 2023 with Alfa Road.
Right.
Yeah, but that was slightly different because they didn't have the exact surface to race on.
True.
The tire is going to perform very similarly on a high grip track, even though they're prepped differently, to what it should on the Worlds track.
Yeah. And where is the Worlds taking place? I believe it was
Bakersfield, California.
Bakersfield, California. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking Malaysia. I don't know why.
I don't want to be going to Malaysia.
I want to.
I want to travel. I want to travel to race. It's just money.
Yeah.
Because I got a
No,
couple
it's not. I
people.
don't
Because
want
I got a couple people asking me, "Hey, why don't you come to Australia or UK to race?" I'm like, "It's $1,000 to race."
Yeah.
Dude,
Go.
it's way more than that to race just in the US. Like I'm just going to California from Kentucky, and the flight is I'm gonna be about $700. The
Yep.
hotel was 900. That doesn't include the entry fee of like $800 or something, and then I had to have make sure my Roar membership was valid. I think.
Your Roar membership better be valid.
Yeah, no, I
Yours
know.
especially.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it is, but also like, come on. And just all these other things to go into it. That's not including any sauce or tires, or I don't even know what's going on with that
Or
because
food.
yeah, food, parts, dude. Right now, I'm going through. So for me to go to the track,
Right.
including gas,
Mm-hmm.
for a set of tires, a rear belt, tire sauce, gas, and there was something else. I can't remember now. It's $150 every day I go to the track.
Yeah.
That's if I
Lucas
don't
said,
break anything.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've been doing very well. You shouldn't. Lucas saying you need to go up to New Jersey and get some turf. Dude, AstroTurf is one of my favorites.
I haven't run on AstroTurf, but I would like to. I've run on
I
carpet.
I'd like to run on AstroTurf again. And Ian's actually one of the guys who told me to come to the UK to race. He's flexing that he doesn't spend as much money in racing there because he has public transport.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be nice.
Well, so, sorry. Wow. I can't say, wow. Okay. I'm announcing at Rick's Hobby Farm. That's all I can say. Anyway.
Well, Ian, in the US, a lot of the tracks aren't subsidized. Actually, I can't name one track subsidized by the government. And additionally, things, I mean, that would be like me going to the same state if I lived in the
That is true.
UK,
Yeah.
roughly. Um, and that includes tires. Like I go through a set of tires. I go through a belt. The tire sauce is $35 a can. I get 2 or 3 race days out of that. Um, and we're talking different levels here. I'm talking like to be the very best I can be versus like just going clubbing. It's a different type of thing. So
Are you getting notifications or is that me?
Yeah, I thought I shut that browser off and I did not. Sorry.
I thought I was getting tracks here aren't subsidized. They're usually
That's
empty
why I was
fields.
looking around like, where is that coming from?
oh, see, we can't.
Yeah, the way they usually do it in the UK is they'll rent out either like a field or a gym or something like that. They'll put down the carpet track for the weekend and pull it up all by Monday.
Yeah, it's semi-permanent, and we do a lot of that in Minnesota as well.
See, I know there was a lot of
Go
in
ahead.
Europe and in Asia that are subsidized. I just don't know exactly where, or if it has changed recently because I haven't done any research recently.
Technically, Phil Hurd is, I think, or at least allowed by the government or local government.
I could take a train to events. It just takes forever. I am 20 miles away from an Amtrak station.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes way freaking too long to take a bus or a train, excuse me, anywhere.
Yeah, it's yeah. I used to live in New York, so
well, I'm saying across the country.
Oh, cross country, yeah, that's not happening.
No,
it takes from like South Bend to Chicago, which is like 2 hours, 2.5 hours by car. It'll take like 8 hours by train.
Yeah. 911. What is the address of the emergency?
Sorry.
Hi, sorry, you called 911.
Sorry.
What is he watching?
What are you doing?
I was trying to pull up a TikTok video, and this weird thing just pulled up. I want to show somebody.
Weird thing.
No, it's kidnapped woman pretends to talk to her child.
Is that the new category? Or are we going away from step parents.
Did you go?
No,
Did
no,
you
hold
go?
on.
Was the logo yellow?
Oh, geez. See, this is what I hate about TikTok is because things automatically pull up.
It's also
And
full
I
of
got to figure out how to mute this because I cannot use this music on YouTube. I'm
Get
going to figure
epidemic
this
now.
out. You guys keep
There you
talking.
go.
But I was going to pull up me running fifth scale on Astro, but that's not a big deal. But fifth scale and A scale, somebody has brought up A scale on AstroTurf, and it
Yeah,
is.
that's a thing, and again in the UK.
Oh, it was becoming a thing here, and then in Minnesota, in the Northwest and Midwest, and the track closed.
I know
So
they're doing the Turf Nationals in New Jersey, I think it was, or Connecticut.
okay. Yeah,
I always wanted to go to that, but I'm not sure if they're doing it again.
yeah.
But I will be going to Class Champions in January.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll see you there. That's kind of my home track.
It's your home track?
Yeah.
Do you know Talon Henley and
Talon
dude?
and Eddie and Angie. Yeah.
The man humbled me at Masters of Dirt.
Yep.
They're cool
He
guys.
humbled me at my home track too.
Talon.
Zach's trying to get me to come down.
So Talon took my buggy, which he helped me set up and all that stuff, and I drive okay. Like I'm like on dirt, I'm not very good. I'm okay. Like I do okay.
Mm-hmm.
This man went, and he had some more time on the layout than Dakota did, but he went the same speed as Dakota the first pack out with this car. And I'm over here 2.5 seconds a lap slower. I'm like, I see what you're doing. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
The kid is so fast. It's ridiculous.
Man is built different. His hands are built different.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a long time. I've watched him grow up, literally. Like he used to be like this tall. Now he's like,
well, and his dad owns a track that helps. When I was at my best, I was able to go to the track 4 days a week, than real life. And that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Well, right now, that's his real life. That's what he's doing. He just graduated high school.
Yep.
Talon's really good on clay. He struggles on any other surface, like at the Nationals. He, I think, made the B main.
Carpet is so much more. It's easy to be kind of okay. Like it's easier to be efficient on carpet than it is clay, but it's harder to be fast, if that makes sense.
You really got to pick your lines.
You got to pick your lines. Corner speed is you don't even see where you're losing the corner speed. You just know you're 0.7 of a second a lap slower than
0.7 here, another 1/10 there.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're a second slower lap. And it's like,
right.
Where did I lose that time?
Right.
I know. That's how it is in on-road.
Yeah. And I guess that's why a lot of people don't do on-road in Georgia anymore.
Well, on-road did it to itself.
Yeah.
So that's the whole. I mean, we could have this conversation, but it essentially did it to themselves.
Yeah. Speaking of on-road, there is one of Minnesota's big on-road races coming up in December. The dates were announced. I probably race directing that one as well. It's called the Christmas Classic at Dollar Hobbies. It's coming.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Zach, you're familiar with that one, aren't you?
Yeah, Jeff tried to get me to go.
You don't like Minnesota. That's all.
It's 6 hours.
No,
it's longer than that.
It's way longer.
6 hours to Beach RC for me.
It's 12 hours for you, Zach. It's
okay.
I'm sorry. It's 6 hours if I lived in South Bend. My bad. December
5th through the 8th, Dollar Hobbies. Check it out. It was a blast last year. It's going to be better this year. Yeah. That was my first look at modern mod touring car, and it was unreal. With
who'd you get to watch drive?
Brian Bussy. Yeah.
I love
Holy,
racing against Brian. It's always a
holy
good
shit.
battle.
Holy shit. It's just watching him. It's like he drove that as easy as most guys drove their 25-5 around the track. He
He
made
makes it
it
look
look
that
that.
way.
He made it look that easy.
He's
It's not
good,
that
man.
easy.
He comes to so I love racing with Brian at kind of my home on-road track,
Yeah.
or carpet at least, at so it's the lower level. They moved to Michigan now. It's in southern Michigan. And my buddy Phil owns it from Discount RC Store. Give him a shout out for all your Schumacher goodies.
Yep.
I bought a lot of my
And
Schumacher stuff.
Phil's awesome, dude. So he's moved the track to a bigger building, and I'm excited to go race there now because when he took over the track while I was in Indiana, he expanded it another 20 feet. So
Yep.
it was 36 by 60, and then he did 36 by 80.
Yep.
And now the new track is going to be 90 by 40, which is about the same size as Snowbirds. So I'm really looking forward to running some Mod TC on there, especially after coming back from running on these really big tracks at Worlds. And I'm going to Texas as well.
See, that's the thing I miss about. So when I got into on road, we were on a 4-roll deep track, but it was 75 feet, so it was 75 by 48. And then the early 2000s, I got used to running on it was a 5-roll deep track, and it was 120 feet long. It was unbelievable running. It's like 120 by 60 foot.
Oh man, yeah.
I
Big boy track.
I can't. I mean, nothing has compared because I mean, like, okay, dollar hobbies are, I forget the size of the track, but it's your average on-road size track. You're sub 10-second lap all day. I like that 13 to 16-second lap time. You know, way more places to gain time, way more places to lose time. You actually get to race other drivers instead of staying on the grind of the track.
Yeah.
That's what I like about bigger tracks.
It depends on what level you're at, because like right now, it's like I'm racing against myself. Like if I lose
Yeah.
race, it's because I lost the race, and that's on a almost a 17-second lap.
Yeah, but that's all of us too, though. I mean, I've had some dumb my fifth scale this summer. I've had some dumb things happen that I've done to myself. So, Zach, this is your section. What's new at DRC this week? Because you're always doing something.
I wasn't ready for this. I was
you just posted something today.
Bruh.
Well, hold on. I was gonna do something, but it's not ready yet. So that's why I'm not ready for it. Yeah, we always post something, but right. So you come up with some money and we'll do that. But no, so we talked about it last podcast 2 weeks ago. A little less, but the pre-order for the titanium 48 pitch pinions has come out. So you can see them on many of the DRC drivers' cars that are going fast and off-road.
Yep.
And you will find them some sample pinions on my car when they're done, 64 pitch. And the cool thing about the titanium ones, they're super round, very true, if you will. They have a wide contact patch for those people that value not stripping their spur gear. That does mean they weigh slightly more than a really thin one. So I don't know how the really thin ones compare to the really thick ones, because I've only run the thick ones. Because they weren't doing the thin pinions when I was running stock. And in mine, I'm not trying it. I don't need that. Like,
You don't
if
need to
it's
strip gears.
if it's 0.2 of a gram heavier, if it's a gram heavier, whatever, it's going on there, and I want the biggest contact patch I can get. And also transfers heat very well, so you don't have to worry about your gears wearing down, and they don't get damaged when you run into rocks and stuff. They just kind of bounce off because they're super awesome.
Right. Nice. So,
Yeah.
some stuff happened since the last time we were on, which is,
Mm-hmm.
man, Thomas Tran, 4.5 years, team manager of, well, not just probably, I mean, TLR, but then all of a sudden it's Proline, all of a sudden it's AKA, then it's Trinity, and he's wearing all these hats. It's like, I wonder what
Probably just
really
got to a point where it's just like, I'm doing too much right now. I want this to be fun again.
right. And that's what it kind of sounds like. He's going to work part-time with Horizon. He says he's onto a new adventure with his family. Yeah, I hope things go well for him. I met him for the first time at Silver State this year. Nicest freaking guy in the world. He has the first interview he did on the Extra Lap RC podcast. The second one was good, but the first one he ripped. It was one of the best podcast interviews I've ever heard him. I mean, he dropped the C word, I believe. It was good.
So who do you think will replace him, or how many people do you think will have to replace him?
I think it will be 3 or 4 people. Yeah. And I think they'll get paid a smaller salary, or maybe no salary. Maybe they'll just get paid travel or whatever. Like a lot of Team Associated's regional team managers, they get 100%, but they have to stick within a budget, and maybe they'll get flown out to a race or two. I could see Horizon maybe doing that. They need to figure out the tire deal. Proline and AKA cannot coexist under the same umbrella for much longer.
Yeah, it's getting pretty, forgive the word, cannibalistic.
But you're right.
Well, and then you got J Concepts taking up the majority of the market in the U.S. for off-road.
Well, right.
And then they're fighting for, small peanuts at that point.
Right. But under one roof you have, I've said it a million times, but I can see Proline going as like the basher side, especially if AKA wins another world championships.
More than likely, yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that happening. The only thing
Austin's checking in. Sorry.
Oh, hello.
Sorry. Austin's one of the local Minnesota guys. He is not racing this summer because he's racing full scale cars this summer. Sorry. Anyways.
But yeah, I can see Proline going just full basher, because I don't really understand Horizon sometimes. Like, why would you buy a racing brand and then buy another racing brand and make them compete against each other under your own roof? It's like the GM effect.
Well,
like Pontiac and Cadillac.
If they wanted, so Horizon has the money, and if they needed something that Proline had, it's easier to just buy it than to develop it.
That is true.
Here's a question. Zach, I know you were in racing when Habaco was still around, but Roach, were you still in racing when Habaco was still around?
Was Habaco the one who came up with Axial, or is that Tower Hobbies?
Yes. No, it was Habaco, and they had Durango, and they had a few others.
I remember I came into the scene right as they got bought out.
Right. So they were trying to stay alive. Both of them were trying to stay alive as long as possible and survive. And whoever went bankrupt, Horizon was almost as bad a shape as Habaco was at that time. Both of them had the nose of their airplanes pointed to the ground, and they were hitting full throttle. It was who blinked first, and it was Habaco. And then Horizon was able to buy, the important brands, pennies on the dollar. Obviously, Durango was going to go away anyways, but a bunch of other stuff went away.
I mean, arguably, Durango's just Arma now.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Yeah, definitely.
Because the new or new
TLR
Typhoon is just the Durango.
It is, yeah. Maybe made with a little bit less expensive parts.
Yeah. I did run one for a little bit, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, you have a video about that. I want to watch it. I haven't gotten to that one yet. But so Horizon survived, and all of a sudden, it almost seems like they're getting cocky. They're sponsoring Sprint Cup teams, which is insanely expensive. I mean, yeah, your ad budget, you get a write-off some of it, but you're still eating a lot of it. And they do come out with cool stuff, like they came out with that oval car. They come up with a lot of cool basher stuff. But the racer side, they're tripping over their own feet constantly.
Huge stagnation. They don't understand what they're doing.
Well, right. It's the reason why it goes back to, like I said, with gaming. Companies like that don't really know, like, okay, for example, it's a compounding effect. When you don't put money into something, like, for example, racing, it's not going to make money. And because it's not going to make money, it's not going to please the investors. And because it doesn't please the investors, they're not going to put money into it. And it just goes over and over and over again.
Right.
It's not true,
well, it doesn't make
as much money as the bashing stuff.
But, and again, though, 99% of people at Horizon don't understand the racing side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can see that when they bought Trinity, sat on their hands, got caught with their pants down, and then came out with a terrible motor.
Right.
That you can't give them away right now.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it's because, well, they just don't really care about the racing, really.
Well, Horizon, and that's why I kind of wonder, why doesn't Horizon cut that limb off? Maybe sell TLR to, maybe make TLR like sell it to A-Main Hobbies, and then they can continue to grow.
Not gonna like that shit.
But dude, that name's worth so much money.
It is, but
in the racing world. But chop off the racing arm so the rest of the body can survive, but they're just sitting here tripping over themselves on the racing side.
I see. Yeah. Well, so Nick, your comment about how can you kill whole shots. So what they're going to do if they go with one brand, so they'll probably take AKA, just for example. They will sell intellectual property from Proline to AKA. It gets to be a business expense as a write-off. They pay themselves essentially, but it gets to be a write-off on their taxes. And then it just becomes a rebranded AKA Whole Shots and whatever else tire or whatever compound Proline has.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a win-win for them to do something like that if they feel like it wouldn't destroy the brand value. But honestly, I don't feel like Proline has any value anymore. Like
there's nowhere near what they used to be.
Yeah, it's
because it used to be. Because for me, from what I've seen in off-road, at least in 8 scale and 10 scale, the only tire that Proline really sells is the Whole Shot. That is.
Aren't Aiden Horn and Nate Sutherland the only ones still really the only ones using Proline?
Yes.
Well, you have, I think Schimmel was.
Okay.
I don't know
but everyone else, runs J Concepts or Hot Race or literally anything else other than Proline, even AKA. And even AKA, to be honest, even AKA isn't that big. The only person who runs it is Lutz, but
right.
It used to be a lot bigger.
Yeah, every time I ran an AKA tire before I was on the JCon team, I never had a complaint.
Well,
Yeah.
I felt like they really started going downhill after, like, whatever the typo was called before the typo.
Okay, was it the scribble? Something.
Yeah, it might have been the scribble. But then they called it the typo. Like right in there, they just like fell off a cliff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, just interesting. I hope the best for Thomas Tran. Dude's an awesome guy. Couple more things. And we have one question from my former co-host Ryan Greening, but this scale seems to be growing, which it makes me ecstatic because I don't know. I love sinking ships, but I got into fifth scale a couple years ago, and I just love it. It's one of my favorites. But there was a big race at they had an East Coast Nationals in New Hampshire last weekend that was pretty big. That might become my big race that I go to next year because I missed the sign up for the Chili Bowl. And I don't want to go to Vegas again. Believe it or not, you can go to Vegas too much.
I already said in the last podcast, and or not in the last show in the comments, I don't care for oval. I don't.
No, yeah, but this is fifth scale off road.
Okay.
But yeah, with the Chili Bowl, yeah, you guys just aren't old enough.
It doesn't makes it's
you know where it's
kind of
really
fun for like an hour.
You know what's really fun for me is I'm also a race director and an announcer. It's so much fun announcing those races because there's so much action in a short period of time. So, yeah, but yeah, but
I will say
there's
though,
go ahead.
I have said before in one of my videos for fifth scale, if you like fifth scale, you are a kind of person who thinks eighth scale is for pussies and you have too much money.
Well, I run eighth scale as well.
So you have too much money.
No, I wish. No, it was a 40th birthday present for my wife a couple of years ago, and it's just like I started racing on the AstroTurf track, and that was wild. I'm like, oh my, I just love this. Nick is wondering, do you need a fifth scale to run a two-stroke? Losey had no, they're two-stroke. Losey had a two-stroke engine, a gasoline engine for the eighth scale a long time ago. I don't think you can find them anymore. They made them. That's a tough one. Yeah, but then there was one I was gonna go to, but like I was saying on the last episode, hit that major burnout. There's one 5 hours away from me that was pretty big. That was close to 150 entries in Wisconsin at Cheese City. My buddy Tony, who I have crazy battles with, that guy won the 40 plus class, so good on him. I don't think he ran regular, or if he did, he didn't make the A main, which would be weird because his 40 plus main time was plenty fast. I don't think he ran regular.
Two things. One, I understand Austin. We can't all like nice things.
Austin loves oval like more than me, but Austin's younger too. That's what he runs full scale is Hornets. He runs sport compact on the oval.
Okay. Secondly, what classes are there? Because I'm very uninformed when it comes to fifth scale.
Oh, for fifth scale, you have truck and buggy.
Truck and buggy?
Yep. You have it's a short course truck and you have buggy.
So when you say buggy, do you mean like 5B Baja or like actual much larger 8th scale 4-wheel drive buggy?
Yep. Team Losey made a 5B and they discontinued it a few years back, and a lot of people are making replacement parts for it because there is really no better fifth scale buggy for American tracks than the Losey. MCD is a European brand. They make them, and they make modern ones, but they're just not good on.
Do you think Horizon will sue these manufacturers, or threaten to sue?
Oh God! Like Associated.
Yeah.
I haven't really been embarrassed to be sponsored by somebody until that happened.
When they sued,
was it? I forget. It was a fan car that they made. Lozy. I should spell it right. I am. Because Lozy.
I grew up on Dirt Oval when Gary, owner of Hobby Farm, gave me a car to run. I was immediately hooked on it.
Yep.
I don't know. I've run most of the classes, and Oval just doesn't do it for me, man.
I will also say most of my opinion when it comes to motorsport, I grew up watching Top Gear, so I'm a little bit skewed.
I love Top Gear.
Specifically.
Wait,
Top
BBC
Gear
Top Gear or the USA version?
UK, definitely.
Okay, definitely. I'm just making sure because we might have to end this.
There is no such thing as Top Gear USA.
Whatever they call it. There was Top Gear USA.
They tried, but they could have done so much better. So this is
about Top Gear USA was Tennerfaust. That was it.
Yeah. This is the 5B. It's discontinued, but as you can see, it's an A scale with the 2-stroke motor in it. It's just like it's based off of the original 8. Except for this servo situation is effing dumb. This servo situation just is terrible.
Let me bring it up real quick.
Is it not up?
No, it's not up. I'll bring it up.
Oh, shoot. I hit the... Oh, okay, come on.
I'm not going to try.
See.
Hold on. Yeah, I almost have it.
I'm trying to find it on just Google so I can just find a picture of it.
Well, you got to spell 5 with a 5.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right. So this whole steering servo thing it's stupid.
What is that?
They do dual servos. A lot of people like them in the 5th scale, but you lay them normally and you have a push-pull scenario. But this is terrible. It's the dumbest crap ever. But a lot of people change that to the 5T steering.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's based on the Lozy 8. It's a simple...
It's a simple buggy. It's a buggy and it works.
It works well. And same with the truck. The truck is based off of the Truggy, but it's got a short course body.
Also, Austin, the only people who spend $2,000 on carpet buggies are fools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the most I ever spent on a carpet buggy was my B64, and I put $250 of hop-ups in it, and that was ridiculous. But it was one of the best freaking... It's hard to beat the B64 on carpet. The end.
It's hard to beat the B64 in general.
Yeah.
I also don't like the B7 very much, I'll be honest.
It seems to be a very good clay car. I have not... It's a very good AstroTurf car. It is... Honestly, my honest opinion, it's not a very good carpet car. At least yet.
For me, it's more just like I think there are better buggies out there than the B7 for 10 scale.
Yep.
But everyone buys a B7 anyway because it's Team Associated.
Yep. Nick waiting for the 7.1. Me as well.
Well, they have that new option part they just released for it on this.
Like adjustable KPI spindles.
Yeah. A lot of guys are taking the KPI front end and putting them on the B64, and they say it's phenomenal. I have not tried it. Yeah,
the
2-year-old. Huh? What was that?
The 3-gear R1 transmission?
No, talking about the KPI front end. A lot of guys are putting that KPI front end on the B64s, and they say it's phenomenal.
I honestly would have just stuck with the B64. Honestly, I'm just be brutally honest here.
Yeah.
Well, you get them for like $100, so
yeah, that too. Jacob's wondering. I wonder if the B7.1 will have a shorter chassis. It's got to. It has to. They went way too long. Neil Craig always says the longer chassis might feel better and it might feel more consistent, but it will never be faster than a short standard chassis. Never. And you got to listen to Neil Craig. I mean, he's one of the best drivers in the world still, and he's like 40.
And he's been doing it longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, he's been doing it as long as I have. I mean, seriously.
I've almost been doing it longer than you've been alive, so it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's ain't a lot.
Yeah. So I got a couple more things. Oh crap, it's getting late, guys.
Yeah,
but
we got to
right.
wrap this up here soon.
All right. Zach, in less than a couple minutes, can you explain the gravity motor ban from Roar that put people in an uproar?
Yeah, so it was a giant misunderstanding. Yeah, it was just a big misunderstanding. So I haven't talked to Paul, but I talked to Clayton. Paul would be the owner of Gravity RC.
Yep.
Clayton is our president. So the rule was that they were getting rid of motors that hadn't been resubmitted on the list to just clean up the list and general stuff like that. The motor, I guess, is older than 4 years, and it didn't get put on the list, and it was just one of those things supposed to have an extension, and it didn't. I don't know, paperwork error, something. Anyway, so nobody wanted to talk to each other, sounded like, so Paul didn't call Clayton, and I know Clayton's got a lot of shit on his plate, but the technical director, I would think would be the person to talk to about this.
Yep.
And it's his first year as a technical director, so mistakes are going to happen. But nonetheless, instead of Paul reaching, or whoever's running Paul's social media page, I don't know who it is, reaching out to Roar and asking what's going on with this, he made a post on social media, and he was pissed, or whoever was pissed off, and I'm sure I would be in that situation too, but I don't think that was the right way to handle it. And then all the post got taken down by Paul, or I'm sorry, Gravity. And then all of the haters in the comments that were like, fuck Roar, who, by the way, don't do anything to better this hobby. They just fucking bitch and moan. And you can talk to me trackside if you want to talk about that. I'd be happy to have that conversation, just for anybody out there. And so, that's pretty much what happened. Bunch of people were bitching and moaning. Nothing's changed. It was just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah. RC Mask Master is making me laugh. He's saying, who's ran out of talent? I got some spare. Yeah, I need any help.
I've seen you drive RC Mask Master. You don't have it.
Couple more for Zach. What's this possible new on-road class?
So out of Norcar, there is a like an LMP body, and I think they're using a open 21.5 motor or 25.5. I don't remember.
When you say LMP1, do you mean like Le Mans style prototype?
Yeah, I think so.
So like the Josh Cyril body that he came out with a few years ago.
I don't know. Hold on.
But
I'll send you guys a link or a picture.
And J Concepts came out with one for an F1 conversion as well a long time ago that's been discontinued for years. But
I don't see this thing yet. Bad at this stuff.
I think you also.
Oh no, it's.
So that would be. No, you're fine. I've been hearing something about that. I just don't know who makes the bodies. What tires are they using? Are they spec tires?
They're going to use a touring car tire instead of the gravity tire, because apparently everybody hates the gravity tire.
Okay.
The belt USGT tire, not the. Oh, I don't do that. I'm not very good with computers, so I'm working on a picture here.
So what are you trying to bring up?
This right here.
You hit share screen and you hit allow. Or present
Yeah.
and then allow.
Okay, present.
No, I don't want to share
Share
Discord.
screen.
I'm probably going to get banned.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I want to like throw TikTok videos up here, but it all has copywritten music on it, and you know that like 2 beats goes on YouTube and you're done.
A lot of my old videos got copyright claimed as well.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh wait,
Also,
Can you
I
guys see
how you
this?
doing?
I see. Let me bring it up. I think I have to add it to the stage. There we go. Yeah,
Okay.
Oh,
This
that
thing
is
right
the
here
one.
in the front.
I like it. I like that, Finn. Dude, that's pretty rad.
I could see that becoming a new class,
Well,
especially
it's supposed
based
to.
on looks alone too.
So what needs to happen
It
is
needs
the
to work.
governing body. So what it does. So that's good. So I think that VTA and USGT should become one class, honestly. But and I know people are going to hate on that, but I think they could be about the same speed if they all go to the same tire.
Right.
Which is the whole thing. But anyway, so this whatever class, if it becomes a class, keep it the same rules. Don't change rules. Don't allow companies to manufacturers to ruin the class. Like this is what we're gonna do for the foreseeable future. And then if that becomes inevitable, like when HPI went out of business for
The
the
third or
VTA
fourth time.
tires.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And when Novak went out of business for the VTA motor, just two examples of like a super spec class that was very competitive for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they opened it up, and now it's a touring car with different rule, and that's what it is anyway.
Right.
But now it's not a beginner anything. It's you have people that are very skilled running VTA because they want to run another touring car class.
Right. And it's good to do with last year's touring car. You know, when VTA first came out, I always wanted the rule to be put into place that the chassis you use must be 4 years or older. But everybody's like, no, I want to use this. Like when VTA started out, we were using Serpent S400s when Serpent S400s were new. We definitely shit all over the idea of that class. Because
I also
more mini classes or Tamiya classes.
Right.
Yeah.
One of these days I want to the Hobbyplex in Omaha, they hold one of those Tamiya rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to one once. They seem like a blast. They have like all the way from like super spec like Euro truck and TTO2 classes to your super big modified whatever classes. So
honestly, I think there's a lot of I did one of my videos on this a little bit ago. It was what's this called? I believe it was the "Do You Really Need the Best" video.
Yeah.
And one of the rules was like, or one of the things I said was like, in classes like Euro Truck or VTA, they did things that encouraged people to modify their cars, but not too much.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Mini Cooper class used to be big in Minnesota, and we had strict rules. You could use the MO3 or MO5 chassis. You could use one J motor. You could use bearings. You could change the springs and the oil in the shocks, and that's all you could do.
And that's all you really should be able to do.
You could change the bodies as well, just to have fun. Like if you don't want to look at a Mini Cooper all day long.
I had a Miata.
Yeah, I wanted to get a Volkswagen GTI, but I never did. Because that's what my daughter started with, was a Mini Cooper, and I still have it actually. But yeah, though, my dad and I talked about this, and it's not really a great car to start. Affordability, it's a great car to start with, but a front wheel drive Tamiya with weird spec tires, It drives.
It's not the best. It's not the best to start out. It's like starting out with short course truck and 10 scale.
Yeah.
It's going to drive weird.
Yeah. So
But
next
in terms of
thing, what needs
affordability,
to happen is easy off-road teardown so I can even think about running on-road. So everything in the same day. We used to do that in Minnesota. That's how I actually came up with the name of a series I used to have, but they were Super Saturday Points series races to where your off-road and your on-road counted as all in, like, you had to run both to be counted in the points. It was pretty cool.
They did that a couple of times at Hot Shot too, back in the day.
Yeah. And then I have one more for you, Zach. What are the updates on Roar?
So that just came out, and so I'm gonna pull it up on the website here just so I say it all right. So essentially they announced that they were gonna do some house cleaning with their motor battery list. That's finally coming out. They're finally doing the automatic membership renewals.
Cool.
If you're trying to sign up for an event on the Row website and you don't have an active membership, you can't sign up. And just kind of stuff like that. So a couple of new things coming out. Oh, and your Roar ID number will be available right on the website when you sign in. Just a couple things that they're getting around to. These are like
just regular housekeeping things.
Yeah, but that should have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, it should have been done the whole time. And Clayton's
better late than never.
Dude,
I agree. I'm just saying, like, I'm all for Roar and I'm all for Clayton and I'm the Roar Region 5 director and I'm trying to do everything I can to promote stuff in the sport. But why did it take 10 years to do this? Like, what was happening before Clayton?
Because
why were we okay with
were running things. But the thing is, too, though, honestly, I like Clayton. I had him on here, and I'm so happy he won the presidency. But I'm like, God, what's he going to do? He's going to get overwhelmed, and he's just going to shut down and do the bare minimum, which he is not. He's been working the whole time. But where I became fully on board is when Brent Densford joined the committee. Now, when Brent, who is one of the louder critics, which when somebody has as big of a footprint as Beach RC and he's a loud critic, it's a good thing because then things get done.
Well, yeah, but you need more of those people. You need people to call you out on your shit when you're when you do it wrong, and from like a good perspective, not just some haters that are keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
it's easy to complain. It's harder to find a solution.
Yeah, and they've been working, but it's like trying to turn a gigantic oil tanker in the middle of the ocean. It's going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been. It seems like every month they've been tackling like one important thing a month, which is one or two things.
And that's what it's got to be, though. And I mean, honestly, there's just not enough people doing stuff in Roar to like make a big difference immediately. And also, there's so much stuff that's been wrong for so long that it's hard to make a noticeable impact. And then, like Cade said, like, okay, we can see it's terrible.
Yes.
What do we do to improve it? And then that is difficult because
that's
you don't
where a lot of
put,
people shut down.
Right. You don't want to put like, and something's better than nothing, but also like it can be worse. Like it still works. It wasn't great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think definitely moves in the right direction. I like talking about this stuff. I think that anybody that supports, whether it's a hobby for you or a sport, I think it's more of a sport than a hobby. I called it a hobby earlier because what I used to call it.
Yeah.
And I just think that, if you're passionate about it. I think you should do something about it instead of, and if all you do is put $40 a year to put your money where your mouth is, to say, hey, I'm going to support something that's going to do better for RC, this thing I love, then that's great. Or if you want to do more, like be a regional director, or if you want to make RC videos and popularize it, or you want to come talk shit on a podcast and talk about RC, just something like to do something better, and just whine
Don't just
and
consume,
moan.
produce.
But one thing you have to understand about Roar, Zach, and you see it more positively because you were friends with Clayton before you became a regional director yourself, and you're a regional director, so you're more in it, you're helping, you're doing things. But what you have to understand is there were so many years and so many elections with Roar to where somebody's like, yeah, I'm going to turn it around, and it turned out to be like real politics. Nothing changes. It only got worse and worse and worse. And then in the early 2010s, there was actually a guy who started, it turned out to be a giant scam. He started something to go alongside Roar to be like, F you, I'm going to compete with Roar. I'm going to get a IFMAR bid, all this. And we all believed him, and people bought memberships, and the guy disappeared. But it got that bad to where people were willing to support something else at that point.
I said this earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said this earlier to Joe before you came on, Zach, is that there are people in the hobby right now who wouldn't go to a Roar race if it was in their backyard. And that's a very hard thing to get past a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because we all use the rules to go racing.
It is ridiculous, but it's the hater mentality. And
I mean, I understand that, but also like you see these people like trying to do better, trying to go, and like the least you could do is like not say something shitty, or be like, oh wow, that's cool. Like that costs absolutely nothing. It gets them more engagement and just like a little tiny something you could do. But instead you go, wow, that should have been done 10 years. Why didn't they just do it then?
Well, and then people don't know how to voice their concerns properly anymore when something doesn't go right. That's one of the biggest things. Like when the Fullers had an issue at the Nationals, and Mike actually talked about it, like not calmly, but he was rightfully upset. But but then the shit show that went in on the comments section, it's like, oh my god.
Well, it's valid to have an opinion, and I mean, it is what it is, though. And I think I've been doing this for 22 years now. This will be my 23rd year.
You're so old.
I know. And so, and my business is RC. I've been doing DRC for 9 years now.
Yep.
And it's a lot of work, and without people racing, I don't survive. Like my business isn't like I would do part-time DRC, but it would be custom heat shrink and maybe some cable ties and sheathing. But my mainstay is still RC.
So no roast titanium opinions.
I'll come up with money somehow. I'll figure it out.
Sell those feet pictures.
No.
Don't listen. Listen. Do you know how much money I could make right now?
Do it. It's just your feet. Who cares?
I don't have to show my face.
You could. So yeah, exactly. If you could do that with your feet, do it.
In jiu-jitsu,
I have fucked up feet. Yeah.
That's one thing I get made fun of for, because all my buddies go, "You have the most busted up white ass feet I've ever seen." It's like, so I guess I don't have a career.
Me neither. Mine are bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you got plenty of mat burn on yours as well and all that. So
weird calluses.
yeah.
Moving on from feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Sorry. Somebody's a little feet.
Oh man.
But
Hey,
I got to get going. So
I do. One question from former co-host though, Ryan Greening. We all miss Ryan. I don't know if you ever listened to this podcast when Ryan was on here. He's the one who got me. He's the one who got me doing it again back in 2019. But he goes, if you haven't talked about it at length, will you be adding Lucky 13 to your list of frequent racetracks? How will it affect what you do already? Well, you guys aren't from the area. Lucky 13 is a track out in Osseo, Wisconsin that all of a sudden they went away for a few years, and all of a sudden they're back. I am excited for the oval section. If the off-road, right now the off-road track takes like hole shots and whatnot, which is cool, but it really doesn't. I mean,
is it an 8 scale or 10 scale track?
10 scale.
10
I
scale?
don't have the time to figure out how to make a mid-motor car to hook up in that scenario. Basically, when I bring a car to the track, I better be close, and I am the majority of the time. But I will be supporting the oval for sure. I'm excited for that. It's Scotty.
If you need help figuring it out, you can ask a lot of the Florida guys because that's what they do.
I know. I'm gonna be, or I could build an RB10 with factory team parts.
You could do that too.
Because I could get a rear motor car to work anywhere. It just wouldn't be fast on high grip surfaces.
Who cares? You're running on outdoors.
Yeah, it's indoor, but
it's an indoor. But
it's indoor, and the track looks like it would work well with the bar tire. But as of now, it doesn't.
It's too green.
It could be too green. Hopefully they get it figured out. But either way, yeah. So is Zach out of here? Zach might be out of here.
Zach might have dipped.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate you sharing the podcast on your YouTube channel. Helped us out a lot. If people,
any amount of exposure is good.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
You can find me mainly on YouTube, or not roachrc.com. I wish I had my own website, but you can find it on, just go to YouTube, type in Roach RC. That's in the actual, cockroach, not, and just RC, and you'll find my channel. Right
on. Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was fun, and man, we went over time like we always do, so that's a good thing.
Don't worry. Last time I was on NRC, it went on for 4 hours.
I gotta wake up in the morning. All right. So with me has been Zach Donathan and Roach. I don't know. I've never heard him called by. That's the thing. It's like
I'm RC Roach Man now.
Yeah, RC Roach Man. Because I'm like, I called you Cade earlier, and you're like, don't call me. It seemed like don't call me that. So
I honestly don't care either way.
Yeah. So with me was Zach and Cade, and I'm Joe Zer Jr., and we have ran out of talent. Have a great night, guys.
Take care.